Hi, welcome back to the Blissful Heart channel. My name is Desiree Lee and I am here to give you your weekly Bliss Fix. Today we are going to look at overcoming challenges in this powerful time of transition. Welcome back to my channel, to all of my subscribers, and for anybody that's new, I channel divine guidance for the collective. I am a twin flame in union, a Reiki master healer, and a yoga teacher, and my purpose here in this life is to be of service and help elevate humanity's consciousness and guide those of you that are on that soul journey to your divine path. If you missed last week's video, it was a live, and so I noticed that sometimes the lives don't necessarily show up in your feed, so it is there. You should definitely check it out because we have closed a portal door and we have moved on to the other side, this other dimension, this other place of existence. However, we are currently being tested by some low vibration challenges that are lingering from our past life, have you, or the last timeline that we have just transitioned out of. So bottom line is that you could still potentially move backwards into that lower vibrational space. So the goal with this reading is to see what our particular challenge is, and I always want to mention that this is a collective reading, okay? So what my guides will usually do is point out a couple different scenarios, 2 or 3, but you know, if you really are feeling concerned about what's going on in your life, I do recommend getting a private guidance reading from me, and you can do that through YourBlissFix.com. I also do live readings every Friday on Instagram at Blissful Heart, so check me out on Instagram if you aren't already. And if you want to receive a monthly video of the twin flame journey where I look at the heart, the mind, and the action space of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, I do a monthly reading for $1 a month on my Patreon. So not only can you help donate to my services that I give here for free on YouTube, but you can also receive that twin flame guidance reading, which they are so powerful, and I have just a small, humble, beautiful group of people there that it's just such a beautiful, safe space. I love what it's shaping up to be. All that being said, I am looking to make my YouTube and my coaching and guidance a full-time career. I am already doing it. Not to mention my online crystal selling business, Blissful Crystals, that my twin and I are putting together. And yes, we still have yet to launch our first live, but we're designing a logo and things are being a little held up. But we are definitely going to make it happen soon. So go ahead and give that a like and a follow as well. I'm planning on pushing out a ton of content. So if there's something that you've always wanted me to talk about, or you know, if you have any questions about the twin flame journey or about crystals or energy, please comment below, and I would love to just hear from you and know what you'd be interested in hearing from me, because I am planning on putting out a ton more content. So now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's take a look at what the greatest challenge for the collective is. I will be bringing some new decks to the table today, and I'm going to be pulling them live. So I will do some nice edits for you, but I just prefer for you to have an authentic response to the cards. We have card 12, which is a 3 family. Thy love is present in the presence of thee, a comforting veil that warms the heart and hugs the soul. Wow. Oh, okay. I'm going to pull a secondary card to clarify, but I definitely got a hit about our childhood trauma again. And I'm feeling guided to mention to you that, you know, if you aren't familiar with EFT tapping, where we tap on points and tap our way through trauma, and it is so powerful, and I cannot recommend it enough. And if there's a particular thing that you are trying to work through, just give it a little Google or search for it on YouTube, and you can find some amazing videos that will help you tap and teach you how to tap. And once you've done it, you know, a handful of times, you'll have it memorized. You can start to listen to your intuition and work through all of your individual traumas all on your own. And I am telling you, this thing is crazy powerful. So definitely something worth learning and looking into. So I'm going to pull a secondary card to get a deeper look at this family card for the collective's challenge at this time. The greatest challenge is family. Shaman, ancient healing wisdom. This makes so much sense. I mean, we are talking about ancestral karmic wounds. And this is the greatest challenge for the collective right now. So that means collectively, we individually have to address our ancestral karma, and we have to come into healing the spirit, right? The shaman card is talking about everything that shows up in your life, whether it's emotional or physical, is actually an illness of the soul or the spirit, right? And so we have to look at our spirit and get in touch with our soul self and the divine guidance team, right? And yes, I'm remembering last week was just like so much God talk. Like the divine really wants to come out and communicate, and it's, you know, something that I'm a big believer in, and I'm always very delicate about bringing it up on the channel because I know some people are very triggered by it, and you know, it's a hot topic, right? But you know, it's so important for you to find your connection to the divine in whichever way you can connect, through prayer, through meditation. Maybe you go to a temple or a church, you know, if you have a spiritual mentor that you can talk to them. But it's so important. And yes, I'm hearing like if you know somebody that deals with past life regression therapy or deals with healing ancestral trauma, definitely look at that. And I'm hearing also about doing that 5D DNA upgrade. I really don't know much about it. I just heard that right now. So upgrading our DNA, and they're saying like you don't necessarily have to pay someone to do that if you can, you know, find a guided meditation, or if you are strong enough in your intuition to trust channeling in that guidance. And again, that is definitely like you got to know how to seal your energetic space to make sure you're channeling love and light, and ask for divine guidance. Okay, if you don't know what you're doing, it's not something you want to play with, because you could be inviting darker energies in. So it's definitely something that you want to feel confident about if you're planning on doing it on your own. But I am hearing like it is time for you to take your spiritual journey a little more seriously, right? And we ebb and flow in this, but they really want our undivided attention in terms of focusing on this trauma. And I'm also hearing that for some of you, you haven't quite realized that this is ancestral, that this is ancient, okay, that it's beyond this lifetime, right? And so it's important for you to have that realization that this is a very repetitive ancient karmic pattern, and that you are going to break it. Wow, I love that. You know, each of us are breaking that chain, and we're ending it. And yeah, this goes back to what I was saying a couple weeks ago, like the old pattern is over, okay? It is done. But it can only be done if you call it like what it is and say that it's done. It's not going to just disappear if you can't pinpoint exactly what it is that you want to be done. And I got goosebumps on that. Thank you, Spirit. That's what they've been trying to get out, is that they want you to understand specifically what you're letting go of. It can't just be some, you know, airy-fairy, oh, just the bad stuff go and I'll be good. You know, we gotta be like, I want to release any karma or trauma that I have around money, around greed, around, you know, power and abuse of it in my family's DNA, and I'm getting chills all over that as well. So I really feel, and I've seen this with my clients, you know, seen it in myself, and I've seen it with my clients, that a lot of us, when you're an old soul, that you have lived lives, my friend, and you have not always been love and light. And in fact, you know, the more love and light you are in this life, the more you are, you know, the more devoted you are to service, the more likely that you've had a whole lot of bad karma accumulated. And it's only through service that we clear that karma, right? and we elevate. So chances are, if you find yourself on this path, that you have not always been the greatest person. So yes, what a beautiful message. Okay, so I kind of feel like I just channeled all of the questions, but we're gonna continue through the spread and see what comes up next. So now we want to see how this burden weighs us down. Like, how does this ancestral karma weigh down the collective? Oh, cool. We've got the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot coming out to play today. How does this burden weigh down the collective, Spirit? Oh my gosh, I was seriously thinking I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I just got 3 cards instead of 1. We have the 4 of Needles, the 13, the Death card, which is a 4, and then the Queen of Needles. So that's 2 4s, and the needles represents the swords. So we've got a mental element, and then we have the Death card, which is always about like transition and, you know, resurrection. There's like that death and the rebirth, right? With every ending, there's a new beginning. So we are looking at an ending of mental anguish. And I'm hearing manipulation. The Queen of Needles is definitely representing a mother figure that is very controlling and very manipulative. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a mother in your life, but it does suggest that it is somebody that's older than you. So it could be an older sibling, it could be, you know, an aunt, or, you know, a grandmother even. It's just definitely coming through as a female figure of authority that has done the best that they can to try to control your family situation, and it has made you feel very oppressed, and it has definitely had a huge impact on how you choose to live your life and the choices that you've made in your life. So this could also be a religious thing that's happening here, as well as, you know, I mean, it's the big ideas here. We're looking at religion, we're looking at money, we're looking at power. So like choice of career, choice of your soul path, and judgment, right? Very heavy judgment. Okay, so this is weighing you down by preventing you from having this transformation in your life and actually fulfilling your heart's desires. And so again, we want to kind of look towards this family ancestral karma and ask our divine guidance team, ask the shaman spirit to help release it. And again, the more specific you can get with this, the better. Like, really sit down and journal about what you feel frustrated in this life, because whatever is like a repeating lesson for you is gonna most definitely be your ancestral karma, and it should absolutely be connected to your family in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through being overly protective or not protective enough. You know, there's definitely something that's happening, a story that's being told through your family. Okay, so now we want to know the best way to overcome this heavy burden. You know, like, once we've sorted out what it is, how can we overcome it? We got card 44, attraction. So if we're paying attention, we had 2 4s in the question before, and then in the first question we had a 3. So, but we're definitely seeing a repetition of 4s. Ooh. And also jumping out, 2 cards from the Animal Spirit Oracle. We've got 14, which is a 5, and 53, which is an 8. So Chameleon Spirit, act as if. I love that. And then the Seahorse Spirit, watch and wait. So when we're looking at the best way to overcome, I mean, this is amazing, because I am currently reading Money and the Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And I was just reading this morning about this concept of pivoting. And it's the idea of like knowing what we don't want so that we can know what we do want. And so when we catch ourselves thinking a negative thought, we pivot that thought so like knowing what the trauma is, knowing specifically what the issue is, allows us to know what we want to manifest, right? It gives us a very clear example of what we don't want. And that way we can craft and create our desire of what we do want. And yes, you're saying like, please learn to tap your way through. There's all the points, okay? Tap your way through this trauma so that you can turn it around. Because again, it's about raising your vibration. And the pivoting is definitely one of on my list of other videos to make, is teaching law of attraction tips and how to pivot. So this attraction card 44 is, again, we've got the double fours, very powerful, like angel guidance message about foundation and structure. And so we're rewriting our story. Yeah, so that's another thing I've been reading in the book, and I'm only like 10 pages in, but rewriting our story. And I've talked about writing our story before, so we have to really take a good look at the story that we tell ourselves every day about our life and our upbringing and how it shaped us and made us who we are. And we want to rewrite it so that it's positive, right? Where we thank all the people that have done some shitty things to us, because we now can see the lesson that has taught us and how it shaped us as an adult, right? We know now that the trauma that we experience is not only a signpost for what we are supposed to teach about specifically, right? But it has given us this huge heart that is just so full of compassion, because we have undergone so much suffering. And it is through suffering that we learn love, you know? It is through lack that we learn, you know, what abundance truly is. And that's just so powerful, right? It is through lack that we learn what abundance truly is. And so here they're saying the best way to work through this, now that you know what it is let's go ahead and attract the opposite. And again, Shells, like, we want to manifest the opposite of that, right? And we want to act as if, right? The chameleon, and I love the upgrade in the number, right? Because we've gone from 3 in the first question to 2 4s in the second. Then we got 2 4s in the third, and then a 5 with the chameleon spirit, act as if. And then we have an 8 with the seahorse spirit, which is 2 4s. 4 plus 4 is 8. So here we watch and we wait, right? So first we rewrite our story of what we do want to attract. Then we act as if that story is already happening. It is here and now, and we're living it. And then we watch and we wait and we let that life show up for us. Because there is nothing more that your guides want for you than for you to be happy, and for you to have that love, and for you to have the career of your dreams, and to have the home that makes you happy, and, you know, to have the freedom that you crave in this life. Like, your guidance team wants so bad for you to be able to see where you have created blocks to receive all that and then release it. Okay, so honestly, this is such a powerful reading, and this last one is like the secret to everything, right? We want to figure out what we're putting out there, this repelling what we want to attract, rewrite the story so that we know what we want to attract. We act as if it's already here and now, and then we watch and we wait. So now we want to know how the shadow self responds to this. I'm going back to the seasons of the witch. How does the shadow self respond to this? Mother Mary, card 23, which is a 5. Into the arms of a mothering embrace swells a wisdom full of grace. In thy bosom where she whispers sleeps the eye of winter. Interesting. I'm going to pull another card for this. I'm going to pull from the Queen of the Moon Oracle. So what's fantastic is the harvest moon is actually the full moon for this month. We are receiving the harvest moon. And, you know, this Mother Mary energy is definitely talking about like a divine feminine nurturing energy. And so the shadow self is like asking for to be nurtured and to be cradled and to be loved, you know, yes, I actually had a moment with my shadow self just the other day where it was very emotional, and it's like saying goodbye to the you that has gotten you to where you are. The injured one, the one that has trauma, the one, you know, that is kind of living in a space of feeling like things have been unfair. And, you know, this you from this previous timeline that we have just left, right? And I don't know, I hope this makes sense, you know, because that is no longer the you that you are going to be showing up as. And so it's like they're dying, or, you know, they're leaving, they're going to be gone. And it is like a time to kind of show up with that nurturing maternal energy, even if you didn't have a good example of a nurturing energy in your life from your mother, but to show up as that nurturing energy for this you that you are saying goodbye to, because you are no longer going to be operating from that space of trauma, because you are releasing it, right? And in order for it to be that real, you have to acknowledge the fact that this person, this aspect of self that has served you for so long and has come so far, right? Because that's also another aspect of this Mother Mary card, is acknowledging how far you've come and all of the work that you've done, right? So, and then, you know, and same with the fruition card. The fruition card is about harvesting the fruits of your labor, right? So acknowledging all of the effort that this former you, this shadow self, has delivered for you to get you to where you are now, and to truly like allow that emotional release of thanking this self for everything that they've done for you and saying goodbye, you know. And it does feel like, at least for me, it definitely felt very sad, like I was losing a really good friend, possibly my best friend. But also it's bittersweet, because it's like, oh, I'm so glad that I'm no longer going to be, you know, operating from a space where I feel like I haven't been treated fairly, you know, where I deal with things from a place of resentment. And to be fair, I think that we all have grown so much from, you know, when we first realized, you know, how whack our family is to, you know, wherever you are now, right? You have definitely evolved. But even on some small part of you, because I feel like some of you might be like, well, I've gotten rid of all of that. Have you though? Because if you're not living with all of the goals that you've set out with yourself, if you still have some blocks against receiving those goals, then there's still some part of you that's vibrating at a frequency of, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, I can't have it. And that, my friend, comes from your family. And so we're releasing that. And so my guys just want to make it clear that we're not saying goodbye to our family necessarily, although you might have to. You know, if you have a toxic family member that is constantly shaming and judging you and bringing you down, then maybe it's time to take a little space at the very least, so that you can, you know, grow and move away from that frequency. But the shadow self is really like asking to be, you know, acknowledged, and then, you know, have that kind of celebratory goodbye party. Yes, it's like a celebratory farewell party. I love that. Well, if that is what the shadow self is doing, let's see what the higher self is doing. And okay, you guys, I finally got, you know, I always talk to you like you guys are geeks about decks like I am, and so I apologize to you if you're not. But if you are, I would love for you to comment below what your favorite decks are right now. Not of all time, just like right now. But yeah, so I finally got the Modern Witch Tarot. I'm not pulling from it right now. I'm pulling from the Astrology Oracle, but I'm going to pull from it in a second. And you know, I really love it. I think that it's so clever how they took the original art from the Rider-Waite and just kind of made it more hip and LGBTQ friendly. Okay, so how is the higher self responding to this, Spirit? Ooh, I got 2 cards. Ooh, we got Aquarius, originality, philanthropy, and progressive imaginings. And the 5th house, passion, play, children, confidence, and creativity. I mean, this is, again, so creative energy has really been coming through very loud, very clear. And this is definitely a sign that once we, you know, clear this weight, that we're going to have a creative breakthrough. So for any of you that have been feeling blocked creatively, you will be liberated from that creative block, okay? You will be freed. And we are also seeing you know, a possibility of building a family, you know, and I saw this last week too. If family is on your, you know, checklist of things you want to accomplish this life, and so it could be, yes, so they're saying it could be developing, like deepening the relationships you have with your direct family, right? Your children, or your sister, brother, your wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, twin flame, right? So I just am feeling a coming together that's making me feel very, feeling a coming together, and I'm feeling like a fresh start energy, like almost like a spring cleaning energy. And what else does the higher self receive from this? Freedom from the 8 of Swords and hope. Okay, so I almost pulled the cards up for you, but I'm going to do that on the screen. So we're seeing a release from not being able to make a decision. We're seeing you know, eyes wide open is, you know, like we're seeing the reverse of the 8 of Swords. We're seeing a lot of mental clarity. Wow, I'm hearing for some of you that you're going to be seeing your family in a whole new light. Yeah, so sometimes we make excuses for our family unknowingly, and I'm hearing that either the divine is going to reveal aspects of your family that you hadn't been able to see quite clearly before, or your higher self is going to perceive a situation from a new perspective. But I am seeing a lot of mental shifting of awareness. And then we got the Star card, which is like you're going to be coming in with a whole lot of hope, because ultimately, like when we know these darker secrets and when we can see the truth exactly how it is without any filters on, you know, then we're actually able to heal and to grow and to move on, right? So yeah, for some of you, I'm hearing like you're going to finally get that reveal that you've needed to have like a solid, that's exactly what I thought happened and now I know for sure, you know? Or, wow, I thought it was this the whole time and it was actually this, you know, but I just feel like there's going to be a big reveal that is going to help shift you into a whole new space of manifesting and living your life. I'm hearing like for some of you, this is a little more specific, but that you've kind of felt indebted to a family member and you're starting to see that they were actually manipulating you, a little like narcissistic behavior, possibly. If not, you know, and I said this last time, I think, but not all selfish pricks are narcissists, right? But narcissists are definitely selfish pricks. But you can still have a narcissistic family, or I mean a selfish family member that is not narcissistic. But I'm just hearing like that you've been being manipulated or controlled, and that you're finally having like a realization that that's what's been going on. And so while you have been feeling kind of indebted, now you're free to do whatever you want. Like you don't owe anything, you know? And, just for the sake of clarity, you never owe anything, okay? You just go, you be a good, honest person, you do the right things for the right reasons, you give when you can give, and you keep when you need to keep, right? You draw those boundaries, and you just live your life as a honest, good, kind-hearted person without overgiving and without overtaking. And you don't owe, all right? I think that idea is such a heavy, negative, low vibration place to be. So I command that you free yourself of that, and I give you freedom to move on, yes, for the good of all, may it harm none. So now we're asking, why is this in your path? Like, why is this ancestral karma part of your journey? And I'm feeling called to use the Sacred Geometry Oracle. With this one, I typically will read the guidebook, but we'll see. So why is this lesson in the collective's path? Remembrance. Card 38, which is an 11. We're in a completion number. That makes me want to review the numbers. Let's see. Okay, we had 3 for the first question. We had 2 4s and a queen for the second question. Then we had 44, 5, and 8 for the third question. Then we had 5 and 9. No, 5 and 10 for the fourth question. And then we had the 5th house, which isn't really a number, but it is. So we have the 5 again. Then we have the 8 of swords, which we had earlier. We had the 8. And then the star card is 17, which is an 8. So again, we got the double 8s. And then we're here with an 11 for remembrance. Definitely like frequency of 4 is like an overriding number I'm seeing. The frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul and body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. I mean, I'm going to read the guidebook, but this is saying like all of this trauma has given us the tools that we've needed to be the amazing, which 99.9% of you, including me, have not realized your full potential, okay? So you're still in a space of becoming, and you forever will be, okay? So there's never an end to this journey, but, all of this pain, all of this trauma was designed to give you these powerful tools, which is what I was channeling earlier, right? It is becoming more common for us to have access to memories of lives lived. It is becoming more common for us to have access to memories of lives lived, experiences gone through, roads traveled, and journeys taken. Our memories are rapidly expanding beyond our current lifetimes alone. Now that we are vibrating at a higher frequency, we are able to access the deeper parts of the grids referred to as the Akasha that hold our collective and personal memories of all lifetimes lived. I mean, if this is not exactly what was coming through from the very first question that was pulled with the shaman and the family, and I mean, exactly, we're vibrating at a higher frequency, we're able to clear this ancestral karma, and if you are working with that intuition, you can access more information and details about it by meditating, right? Asking for divine guidance. And you can specifically ask to be shown the Akashic records for your soul. The Akasha of the human being holds everything that the human being has experienced on this earth plane. However, this remembrance is not a linear function of the brain. Instead, it is an illustrative and multidimensional aspect of the new human being, a human being that harmonizes the synaptical brain with the wisdom and the intuitive thought of the heart and the soul. Yes, 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 yes. Remember, time isn't linear and, outside of this 3D experience, okay? So they're saying, like, you might even be accessing lives that you haven't yet lived yet, in theory, right? But you have. But like in the future, so to speak. There is an unmistakable sense of ancient cultures and times in the remembrance image, perhaps Native American or Mayan. I mean, that shaman card though. And we can see the reference to future civilizations and off-planet connections as well. This is an indication that time is no longer a linear absolute, but a vertical, moment-to-moment experience that includes input from many different times, layers, and dimensions. The blues in the activation refer to the clear communication that comes to us through our dreams, our intuitive thoughts, and our memories. The indigo and violet indicate the higher source behind the communication that comes when our third eye chakra and crown chakra are open and flowing. Try this. Take a moment to go inside and contemplate the idea that you have been around for a very long time. So before I finish reading this, I just want to say that I have one more question to answer after this, and what I would recommend that you do is at the end of the reading, or you can pause it after I ask this question and do it now, but definitely try this exercise, because if when I've been going through this reading it hasn't come to you yet, this activity, this action can help get you there, okay? So take a moment to go inside yourself and contemplate the idea that you have been around for a very long time and always will be. Are you aware of all the times and places you have been before? Do you have a notion of where you are going? Look intensely at the remembrance image and allow your Akasha to activate the memories of your soul's journey. I'm going to bring that image up larger on the screen, and I'm going to let you choose to pause it now or to come back and pause it later, but definitely meditate with this image. Am I crazy, or does it remind you of the cover for Journey's album? I'm not kidding, it looks exactly like the album cover captured from Journey's first live album. Well, not exactly, but it looks very similar. Okay, so, meditate, Google Journey's album cover, whatever you want to do, but definitely take advantage of this opportunity, okay? And allow yourself to kind of one of those magic eye posters. You just kind of open up your vision and don't stare at anything specific, right? So our final question for the reading is, what will change when you overcome this trauma? Going back to the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot, what will change when the collective overcomes this trauma? What will change? I got the Ace of Potions. I'm pulling from a few different decks here, which is the Ace of Cups, so we have new love. The Six of Pentacles, we are going to be balancing money. We're getting giving and receiving energy, so we're going to be in a very positive space of giving and receiving. From the True Black Tarot, we have the King of Swords. Wow, that is super sharp mental focus, where we are able to perceive everything with clarity and to not be emotional about it, right? So it's not in a negative way. It's to see how everything that's happened in your life and how it has made you who you are. And it's a very positive thing, where I'm hearing you have a grander understanding of your life, your purpose, and this journey, and what you're here for. And then one more card from our Seasons of the Witch Oracle. Silent Night, card 32, which is another 5. So we have a 1, 6, King, and a 5. If by night the world should sleep, a sleep so deep, the silence be deafening, there would be sound, nothing at all. At all, nothing would sound. Let's try that again. If by night the world should sleep, a sleep so deep, the silence be deafening, there would sound nothing at all. At all, nothing would sound. So the guidebook says you are being guided to pause, to reevaluate your situation. Now is not the time to move forward with your plans just yet. And you may even find your goals coming to a complete standstill. Something isn't working, and you need this time to reassess your progress before you can move forward. You may even need to release your situation altogether and consider a new path to your desires. So this is definitely about like, okay, now that you have all this clarity and perspective, let's reevaluate where we want to go, what we want to do, and who we want to be. Silent Night offers further guidance. Take this time to meditate and find inner peace. You could be stuck in old or repeating patterns that have created blind spots where your situation is concerned. I mean, it just never ceases to amaze me how spot on these cards are. Right? So that's what I was saying, like, you know, we're going to have all this clarity, and now we're going to make sure that every choice we're making is not a choice that has been influenced by any trauma of lack or not being good enough, right? That every choice that we make from here on out is a choice of confidence, is a choice of knowing and believing in ourselves, and knowing that we can have exactly what we intend, what our heart desires, that you can have that, right? So don't play small, right? Play big. Perhaps you are investing in a situation that has not repaid you for some time. Or it may be that you've given more than you have to offer, and it's time to cut your losses. Consider this pause a blessing, and take this moment to shift your perspective. So, I mean, yes, we're going to have this brand new open heart full of love and inspiration and joy. And we're going to be in a very perfect place for manifesting abundance of opportunities and money and love and success and all the good things. And we're going to have so much like sharp focus and clarity on who we've been and who we are and where we're going. So take this time to pause and reevaluate all of the goals that you had, and make sure they're still in alignment with you, and make sure that any of the choices that you have like planned to get towards your goal is not coming from a space of, oh, I'm going to take this really careful, gentle step just in case I fail. Like if you're setting yourself up for failure, I want you to rewrite that story for a success. And I cannot thank Spirit enough for this beautiful, beautiful reading for the collective today. I hope that this message finds you well and good, and I am just so looking forward for us growing together as a community, as a collective. Many, many blessings. Love and light. Mwah.